Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players, uncover their stories, and discover what makes them tick. If you love guitar, music, and the backstory of people's lives, stick around. You're in the right place. Hi, this is Craig. Just want to let you know you can now advertise here on Everyone Loves Guitar podcast. For more information, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. And today we're going to honor the rhythm section. I got one of the top rock and roll bassists ever. Gary Shea's with us. He's a founder and bassist from Alcatrazz, of course. He grew up in Southington, Connecticut. He started playing guitar and he switched to bass at 15. After a short stint at Berkeley, he moved to London to pursue his dream of playing progressive rock. And after playing in several projects, he wound up returning to Boston and joined the group Target, which was the original nucleus of what was to become the group New England. New England, which was managed by Bill Aucoin. Did I pronounce that right? Aucoin, which was Kiss's manager, of course, was the subject of 6 major labels bidding against each other. They were eventually signed to Infinity and MCA, and they hit the top 30 and recorded 3 albums. The group toured North America extensively throughout the next 4 years. New England reorganized after the departure of John Fannin, and they replaced him with a guy named Vinnie Cusano, who, of course, was Vinnie Vincent. The band moved to L.A., began rehearsing and recording under the new name of Warrior, and then Vinny, of course, got asked to join Kiss full time. With a phone call from English manager Andy Truman, Gary was then in on the ground floor of a super new group, which Gary called Alcatrazz. The other members of this group were Graham Bonnet from Rainbow, Jimmy Waldo from New England, who had played with Gary originally, and then throughout the group run, they hired the likes of Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai, and Jan Uvina, who played with Alice Cooper, and Danny Johnson, a little-known, very underrated guitar player who played with Rick Derringer. The group went on to earn gold records and became internationally known for their musicianship. After Alcatrazz, Gary teamed up with Swedish guitarist Jonas Hansen and Jan Uvina on drums. They recorded the CD #1 on Apollo Records. Gary's currently playing live and recording with New England and Alcatrazz. Both bands have just completed tours of Japan and gigs in the U.S. New England has released a new song on vinyl titled I Know There's Something Here, along with a new CD called Live at the Regent Theater on King Records. Gary's done R&D for Korg, and he's also written bass programs for various bass processors, and he's got a really cool new live album and Blu-ray DVD coming out shortly after this interview drops, and we'll talk about that as well. Gary, thanks so much for your time, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Greg. Good to hear you.
Hey, you left Berkeley to move to England. That's really like ballsy and cool. What prompted? Well, I mean, that's that takes a lot of balls to do that. What prompted that?
No brainer. I had no money.
Yeah. It's funny how that works. When you have no money, the decisions seem to be easier, right? There's less to risk, but it still is a big. I mean, it's not like you moved from to New York City. You moved to another country, man.
Yeah, I'd been in New York and all that. I grew up in Connecticut, and I went to Boston, and I was in a few Boston bands, and all was great. I couldn't afford to keep going to school. I'm paying for it myself and everything. And I liked English bands, basically. So I said, I'm going to go to England. And my friend said, oh, you're crazy, And I said, what's the worst can happen? I come back.
Yeah.
Lose my apartment. Big deal. Well, So I stayed for 2 years and had a great time, met a lot of guys. And it all worked out to where we are today.
That's really cool, man.
I did that. So a lot of people won't get in the car. They're kind of hesitant,
Have you always, did you retain that sort of risk, not afraid to take risk throughout your career?
Yeah. When I hitchhiked to California a few years before that. We got there in 4 days. That was cool. And, just always get in the car. Let's go.
That's real cool, man.
No problems, only opportunities.
Where'd you get that from? Where did that come from?
I just had that natural inner thing saying, go for it. Don't stay home. Don't be timid. I think when I went to California, I was about 19, and I had a hitchhike from from Garberville down to San Francisco to meet a friend airport. I hitchhiked by myself, basically, part of the coast of California. And it made me talk to people, and I realized there's nothing to be afraid of. People aren't going to bite your head off or whatever. And I learned how to talk to people and got natural with people. So that when I moved to Boston and started re-auditioning for bands and things, it went a lot smoother than being paranoid. Are they going to like me? Are they going to hate me? Whatever. And the audition process also, where all they can say is no. I've been to some auditions I didn't get, and so that's okay.
Yeah, everybody has.
Yeah, and some I did, and you just have to go for that and be confident. And if you don't get it, then you try for the next one. Just dust yourself off, keep going. It's my attitude.
So it sounds like you actually got probably comfortable in your skin a lot earlier than most people, which is like great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because I just left town when I was in high school. I wanted to leave town. I just knew that the music business wasn't in Central Connecticut.
Yeah,
so I had New York City or Boston or San Francisco or someplace like that to be with guys. Back then there were bands like the Steppenwolf and the Doors. All those bands were still going strong.
Yeah.
So to be among that, you have to go to Los Angeles, San Francisco. So I knew that was in my forecast. So I just worked at it, chipped away and saved money and did whatever I had to get there.
That's awesome, man. I love what you just said. There's no problems, only opportunities.
Yep.
What was the most important thing you learned in England? And maybe this was it, what you talked about, that there's no downside musically or about life. And was that it? Like basically what you just said?
Kind of a long story in a way, but the first day I was there, I was going to a hotel, met a guy on an airplane, we're going to get a place together for the day, whatever. And I wound up right in the middle of the happening part of London at that time. It was 1970, 71-ish. And bands like Traffic and those kind of bands were still together.
Yeah.
And Whistling Palmer, Yes, all that was still going on. And there were new bands like Roxy Music didn't get a record deal yet. They were my neighbors.
That's wild.
So he asked me if I wanted to play bass with Luther Grozer from Spooky Tooth. And I love the band Spooky Tooth, one of my idols. And I went up meeting Luther, staying in his house for about 4 months, as a really gracious host, and playing with him. And they accepted me. And I couldn't believe that I was, 21 years old. And they didn't say, leave before we call the cops.
Yeah.
And it was just, it boosted my confidence that I was able to mingle with people and talk to people, not, again, be timid or worried about what people are going to think about you. And it was gratifying to know that musically I was, kind of cutting the mustard and going, I can play. And they're saying, let's keep going. It's like, great. So that's what I kind of got out of it. And I learned sort of the English music business first because we eventually got hooked up with Robert Stigwood organization. And Robert Stigwood at the time was managing Cream and the Bee Gees. And they were paying my rent and everything. I was in a band with, I started off with Michael Monarch from Steppenwolf and Herman Rohrbaugh from Scorpions.
Wow, that's wild.
And Herman and I, that band eventually became the group Detective on Swan Song back in the late 70s. Did 2 albums with Tony Kaye in the band, Michael DeBarros. And Herman and I were the original rhythm section when they went to Los Angeles originally. And Herman said, let's quit these guys and start our own band. And I said, okay. And he met a guitar player, American guitar player at the Marquee. He said it was fantastic. Herman talked about leaving his group. Here's these guys from New York City get to play in London, and this guy leads the band and owns the PA. They were hunting for him.
Oh, my God.
Had a bunch of ticked off New Yorkers looking for us in the streets of London. And Herman,
so he's a pretty good sales guy, Herman, I guess.
Yeah, Herman's a German.
Oh, wow.
So the three of us put an ad in paper in Melody Maker, and we Peter French called us, who had just left Cactus with Tim Bogart, Carmen Appice. They had left to go play with Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
Peter came back. He was living in Long Island, came back to England, and he said he was going to join our band. I couldn't believe it. He was, he's older. He was 27. Young guys, 21. All three of us were 21 years old, and we going along okay with Robert Stigl was paying for studio time and doing demos. And then right at that point, the Queen came along, the home office, and said that Herman had to leave, and I had to leave too. We had no green cards. Our visas weren't in order. Leave now, or you're in a lot of trouble. And I went down and lied my butt off made up all kinds of crazy stuff to try and stay there at the risk of getting in a lot of hot water. We finally left. Herman went back and joined the Scorpions. I went back to Boston, eventually joined what became the band New England. So I learned a lot just from being there and being among the English bands and how they look at things, what they listen to, what they liked. Most of them like country music. I couldn't believe it. The guys in Spooky Tooth are into all the Nashville bands like Barefoot Jerry, Area Code 1-5, all the sections.
Holy crap.
In the, turn of the late 60s and 70s, they're all into that. And that's why Traffic went to Nashville and did Little Spark of High Boys with all those guys. They're all.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And I saw that. I went, that's interesting. I'm thinking King Crimson are into some kind of music from Mars somewhere.
And they're into Nashville cats.
Nashville.
Wow.
They're into Elvis Presley or something. And not that they weren't into other things, but I met a lot of those guys. I was fortunate to meet a lot of people like Greg Lake. And Michael Corby was the guy I met in the streets that day. Michael, of course, started the band The Babies. And he wanted me to be in his band, The Babies. And I decided to go with Herman with the Michael Monarch thing. And when I came back to Boston about 6 months later, I turned the TV on one day on a Mike Douglas show way back then.
I remember that show.
There's this band called The Babies, and they're on the Mike Douglas show, all wearing $1,000 suits and looking sharp. And Michael's going, you should have been in this band. You should have, there'd be no John Waite. Have him sing, you play bass,
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work out that way.
Sure. You can't go backwards.
And we're still good friends, and by the time New England got out to Los Angeles, we did our first album, part of it in Los Angeles. Michael was leaving The Babies, and I was in New York because we were managed by Bill Coyne, and Herman had joined the Scorpions, and they're managed by Lieber Krebs in New York that had Aerosmith and Ted Nugent. And here we are like 3 years later in Manhattan with record deals and all kinds of new gear and, wages and stuff going, how crazy is this? I was living in a bombed out tenement with Michael Corby. They have what's called squatters' rights in England. If you take over an abandoned building, they can't throw you out without paying you to get out of there.
Really?
And we were in a place in Westbourne Grove like that. And it's just a vacant flat, leaky pipes, freezing to death. It's old moldy drapes for blankets. And every day I hit the pavement trying to hustle recording studios and recording demo time and trying to get rehearsal time. And did that every day for months and months and months. So here we are staying at the Ritz, in Manhattan. This is different.
Wow. So, what a change of fortune, man.
And with that, was also made me realize how fragile the whole thing is. That, things are going great, but don't take it for granted for more than an hour because the phone rings and the whole thing goes down. It's like a deck of cards. There's got to be 52 things in order for the band to fly.
Yeah.
That's happens to a lot of bands. It could be the wrong manager. It could be the drummer has a heart attack or whatever, and the whole thing just goes down. And that happens to so many people. And so you have to be aware of that, I think, be conscious that, you can't take it for granted if you're in a successful situation that it's going to last a year, 2 years, 13 years. So, I know the guys from New England now we have our 40th anniversary coming up next year. And the same with Alcatrazz. I've known Grab now for 35 years. Oh. And it's been a long time.
Yeah.
The bands have come and gone and intertwined here and there, but we're still friends, and that's the best part of the whole thing. We're still friends. We've been making music lately together again, and it doesn't get better than that. The money's money. The money's just used for the airplanes as usual.
Right.
Get the money.
Yeah. Everybody says that. I don't get paid. I I play guitar. I play bass for free. I get paid to travel.
Right. So you get to see the world, and people think you live in a castle or something because you're playing a band. It's like, yeah, right. But it's been great because it does give us the opportunity to get together. It's enough to fly to Japan. I was in Japan twice last year with both bands. What are the odds of that happening, 30 years later after both bands broke up?
Not high at all.
Yeah, very few bands. And a lot of great bands that have broken up, never going to go to Japan.
Right.
And get in the same room and play some songs together again and rehearse because of different problems they might have. So I'm real lucky for that. I just take that a day at a time and real thankful of all that's going down. And as far as changing anything, there's not much to really change. It kind of just fell the way it fell. And, there's a few things I wish I might have done. I wish I stayed in typing class when I was in high school.
You know what? I took typing as well, man, because we're probably, I don't know how old you are, but we're probably close, and I remember Mike Douglas and I remember we took typing. Isn't that wild to think that people don't even know what a typewriter is? Yeah.
And back then it was considered unmanly to go to typing class, and women couldn't go to woodshop class.
Yeah.
Guys couldn't take cooking classes, even though a lot of the chefs are men.
Yeah.
So I took the typing class, but I didn't like the teacher, and I dropped out. And that was way before. It was like 1967. It was way before computers came along. When that happened, 20 years later, I was just lost, going, great.
Yeah. We had like men and women in all those classes. So I was like probably the next decade, like right behind that when they changed all that. Yeah. We didn't have, wow, that's wild to think 10 years earlier, they weren't letting guys in typing and women in woodshop.
It was a whole other ballpark. And I got kicked out of high school in 1967, 68, 22 times for long hair.
Oh my God.
They drive me down the office and my hair looked like, I don't know, it was not very long. And
wow, that's
time. And we go down to Greenwich Village and buy cool clothes and stuff, and I had brown suede Beatle boots and green suede Beatle boots.
Sure.
They didn't like that. And I'd say we're playing in a band. I'm not getting a haircut. When I grew up, I'm never getting a haircut. Simple.
Yeah.
And then I really tweaked them when I discovered really how to push their button was say, look, you guys are in your 40s and I'm 16. I'm making more than you are.
Oh my God. Yeah. That probably didn't go down real well.
Out now. So I go out the front door and I come in the back door and go back to class. My teachers like me, so I graduated.
Wow. That's wild, man.
But the dress code was a big deal. There's like 4 of us out of 1,500 that had long hair, and we were playing in bands, and wearing polka dot shirts, whatever. And everybody else had just regular, everyone looked like they were 65 years old and they're only 15.
Yeah. It's crazy though, man. You think about like what a waste of energy that was. And like now, they would pray that that's the biggest quote problem, that someone's got long hair. Now, if you said anything about that, it'd be sexual discrimination or something,
Yeah. And I had no lawyer. I didn't have any means to sue them.
Yeah.
I'd love to try to do that. My sociology teacher, homeroom guy, he loved me. He got straight A's for doing that with him. They'd try and drop golf balls down your leg. If the golf ball didn't fall down the floor from your waist, your pants are too tight, and girls had to kneel down to the floor. If the dress didn't touch the floor, the dress is too short.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, way before the Barbie look came to school for 5th graders.
Holy crap. That's nuts, man. That's wild.
Yeah, we went through all that stuff. And I'd say, bug off and die. We're going to play Madison Square Garden someday. And we're from Connecticut. The Garden is the Garden.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, we played Madison Square Garden twice. And that was cool. So as far as talking about highlights or apexes of your career, things that really you remember, that was a good night.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like 6 SVT is going, this is bad,
That's great, man. Not many people get to live their dream. That's really.
And the teachers are probably gone by then, 10 years later, whatever. I couldn't really go back, but just the fact that I was there, I know I was there. So
that's awesome, man. And dude, you look great. You don't look your age. You look good, man. Well, I know you take care. I always see you putting you bicycle a lot and do stuff to stay in shape.
Yeah. I do a lot of stuff, trying, do things in moderation. But I always tell people we did the best drugs in the 60s. So
that's why you look so good. It's all those good drugs. Talk about, you played with 3 in Alcatrazz. It was 3, very different yet very iconic guitarists. And talk about maybe the primary differences in how each one of these guys impacted the band. And that was, of course, Yngwie, Steve Vai, and of course, Danny Johnson.
Yeah. Well, they were all different, and it was kind of fun. In hindsight, maybe if we had gotten someone that was more like Yngwie and kept going, maybe the band would stay together. Who knows? Maybe it wouldn't. But at the time, we wanted to become Alcatrazz. We didn't want to be a Rainbow Deep Purple clone. And Graham had just come out of Michael Schenker's band, and we loved the Assault Attack album, thought that was great stuff. And I'm friends with Ted McKenna from back when I lived in London, and he was playing with Alex Harvey. He actually stayed in my apartment in Boston when he got married for one of his marriages. Another story, but we know all those guys and like that kind of music. The band was based on that model, but we wanted to become Alcatrazz. And with Yngwie, we're still locked into the Ritchie Blackmore thing big time.
Yeah.
And he plays unbelievably. He's a great musician, and he's a great guy. A lot of people don't like him. He says some bonehead things over the course of his time, but he's a great guy. He's a funny guy, and he's adamant about what he wants to do. What he want to do is what he's done, and that's cool. He's Yngwie. And wasn't so much a problem with that. Was maybe there was a clash of experience that all of us had been on the radio before, whether it was Graham with Since You've Been Gone and New England, Don't Want to Lose You, Jan played for Alice Cooper. And we knew what it was that had to be on the radio. And trying to convince them that you don't have to be wimpy to be on the radio.
No, not at all.
And pop music means popular music. You don't have to be Barry Manilow to be on the radio. I said, here's Iron Maiden on the radio. They're on the radio. But there's certain things you have to do, in that, short songs, and you got to have a song. It's all about the songs. And I've always been a song-oriented bass player. I play along with the songs, and I like, more Paul McCartney, that kind of thing, as opposed to the really flash stuff that, especially some of the guys out there now, are just, over the top with the flashy bass stuff. That's nice, but what song is that on? What hit radio? What song was that on?
Do you know a guy? Do you know a guy from that area? Cliff Goodwin, guitar player, played with Joe Cocker. He's like you're very close to your age. He played with Joe Cocker in the, when Joe was big in the mid to late 70s. He was in for 10 or 12 years. He was music director too. And Cliff said something to me. He lives in Western Mass, I think, but he said something to me one time. He said, nobody ever wins a Grammy because of the snare drum.
Right.
He said you got to have a melody, you got to have a song, and that's exactly what you're saying.
It's really down to the voice, a distinct voice, whether it's John Bon Jovi or it's Pavarotti. It's got to be a distinct voice, and it's got to have a good song. And then there's a guitar solo. Maybe there's a cool drum fill or a good bass lick or something, but that's all secondary to that song. And we did okay on our first album with everything, but live Yngwie was just really running around the stage like a banshee, cutting in front of Graham and everything. Graham singing a verse, and he's running around Graham doing circles around him, playing solos. Like, stop. So we had an argument about that, and it wouldn't stop. And there was a big row about that, what to do, what not to do. There was one camp that wanted to just put up with it. Another camp that said, there's going to be no band next second record. There'll be no second record if it keeps up. So the decision was made to look for another guitar player. So we put the word out, and we auditioned. Steve and Chris Pelletieri.
Oh yeah, another good player.
And
God, that's a tough.
Chris is a great guy. He's a great guitar player. And Graham went up doing a record with Chris, and Chris is huge in Japan to this day. He can sell at arenas in Japan. And I got a funny Chris story. Jimmy Weld and I we've been together for a long time. We're like monkeys, and we're in his flat one day, and we're trying to find a guitar player. We see an ad in the local paper in LA, Band Magazine or something, saying, I teach Yngwie lessons. So Jimmy grew up in North Carolina and stuff, and he's put on the accent really good. And he calls the guy and goes, hey, you play that wing wang shit? Sad. He goes, you ain't good? He goes, but are you really good? The guy was getting mad. Then Jimmy went into his regular voice and said, Jimmy from Alcatrazz, do you want to come down? The guy didn't believe us. Just to convince him who we really were.
That's
and
great, man.
Big time. And he came down. He was a great guy. But Steve had the Frank Zappa experience, and he's such a monster player. He can hear a sound and write it on paper, transpose it, and play it backwards in 4 or 5 minutes. And you go, how do you do that? Just phenomenal musician.
Yeah.
And Yngwie is too. But Steve brought more of an organized thing, having played with Frank for 7 records and being in a band, not being the
artist. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little more in tune, a little more of a team player kind of guy. And he had some great ideas. And what he brought was, when we were playing, that what I noticed, being the bass player and the drummer, is when we were playing a verse, he was playing rhythm guitar. And it was cool. It was like chunga chunga. And it was like, there was this foundation we only had on records. We didn't have it live. Because Yngwie was going through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Throwing the guitar in the air, yelling at the roadies, doing all this showbiz stuff that kids like, but it's not conductive to putting the song across. And that's what kind of won him his vote for that. So that when we actually went on a Ted Nugent tour in '84 for about 40 shows, Yngwie didn't know that we had done that. And Steve was back in LA writing songs. So when we came back and we parted ways, Steve had a bunch of songs written. We went right into the recording studio. While we were doing basic tracks, we went to Japan, did another tour, and got to play those songs live in Japan before they were finished. And when that second record came out, we really thought we had nailed what Alcatrazz was. This is just we weren't part of the West Coast hair band thing. We weren't the young guys from Orange County, LA that all grew up together. And there was 4 or 5 bands of those guys. They've all got platinum records now and great guys and all that. But we weren't part of that. None of us were from California, let alone LA. And we had Eddie Kramer producing the second record.
Was he? I'm not looking for gossip, but I was told, somebody told me that he was a little bit challenging to work with.
Well, he's got his opinions. I mean, he can be fiery. And at the time, the whole new technology of automated consoles was coming in. Eddie was kind of fighting that, and Steve was all about it. We get some little friction with that. But Eddie's a great guy. We're still friends today. He's been living next to Jimmy in LA for the last 5-6 years. He just finally moved out of there. But we had this music that we thought was great. We switched to Capitol Records. But the problem was our manager never forgave us for not wanting to continue with Yngwie. And I said, if you want to have the Yngwie band, that's fine, but this is Alcatrazz. And when we got Steve, I told the manager that you're crazy if they don't promote both guys. And he didn't want any part of that. And I said, Steve's going to be as equally famous as Yngwie. There's no doubt about that. And you're being crazy. But he couldn't promote Yngwie as being the best thing in the world if Steve was around. So he squashed promoting Steve. He squashed the record. When the record came out, we couldn't get a hold of him on the phone. No promotion, no tours. The whole thing went down the drain. And we're sitting around twiddling our thumbs, barely playing some bars in Mexico and New Mexico someplace. And then some David Lee Roth called up and said, "Hey, you want to be in my band? I'll pay you a lot of money." So, and the same thing had happened with Vinnie Vincent a year before that when he got to play with Kiss full time. And again, I'm on the street going, great, now what? Next.
So wait a minute. So the manager basically squashed you because he had a bias to Yngwie. But right. Wasn't there any record label people you could? I mean, they put all the money into this.
Yeah, we had Capitol, and we were up at the tower every day. Jumping on the desk and trying to do things and but without a manager, because suits want to talk to suits, and in the long run, they don't want to talk to the musicians unless you're maybe Michael Jackson or Joe Cocker. Maybe you got a shot.
Holy shit! So these guys were totally okay pissing all that money away. I mean, that's what I don't get from a financial standpoint.
Right, they put the money. Well, they're mad. They're pissed at us. We take the heat because nobody else around to yell at. So we're getting yelled at. Where's your guy? Where's your guy? It's in Germany with Yngwie. They're playing the Ronnie Dio tour or something. And
wow.
But what happened was in Japan, because of Alcatrazz, Yngwie got offered an EP deal, 6 songs, like a little solo album. We thought that's great. Helps the band. It's good for him. And that's what became his first album. He didn't just get a record deal because he was Yngwie. He already got the deal with Polygram because he was in the band. And they turned that from an EP into a full album. And a lot of things happened with all that stuff. And our manager just ran off in that camp and just let us starve and fall down. So Steve, working with Steve was great. Some of the music was just, for me, just really, really proud of what we did musically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's what it is or isn't. You kind of play for what you like first, and then if other people like it, that's really cool. But we're not the kind of band that played things hoping, calculated kind of things. If we do this, we'll get that.
Yeah. You played authentically. Put
it out. Yeah. Here's this one song, and Graham is singing Indian in the second verse. And my job is to find a translation in Indian on a Sunday in LA. And you listen to he sounds like he's mumbling, but he's singing in Hindu. I went to some gift shop someplace on Santa Monica Boulevard on a Sunday. I say, can you translate this brother, sun, sister, moon into Hindu? And the guy goes, 27 variations. Whatever you speak, and let's do it phonetically. And brother, sun, and sister, moon. And when you hear that second verse of the song called Mercy, it's like, what's wrong? Didn't Eddie record that properly? It sounds like he's in the back room someplace or something. But he's singing in Hindu. We thought, how cool is this?
Yeah.
It sings in Hindu.
Wow.
So experimenting, musically, and to stick our neck out. He was overlaying guitars like nobody's business. The guitars would come out of the walls. This is so cool. So cool. The music wasn't quite as classically European as what we were doing with Yngwie, in a sense. Maybe a little more American sounding. And that kind of put some people off too, because the heavy metal thing's based on the platform of Deep Purple and everything's in a minor key.
Yeah.
Yngwie refused to play in a major key. And so there's no such thing as a song in the top 10 probably ever in a minor key.
Wow, you had so many. It's like a lot, really hard to get something done with all these people wanting it.
Right.
There's no I in team, that old kind of thing.
Right.
It sounded like everybody, not everybody, but it sounded like, some of the key players had their own platform that had nothing to do with actually getting shit done.
Right. So, we're really proud of that. We were proud of what we did with Yngwie. Both records, I love both records for different reasons. And I love both those guys for equal reasons. And then Steve left the band to play with David Lee Roth. It was goofy money. And we looked around again. I thought, now what are we going to do? And we thought we'd try and go even a bit more Aerosmithish, maybe, be a word to say. Get away from the ridiculous solos and just have a little more of a stocky guitar player.
Right. And
the Dio camp, we were being managed by, at that point, Wendy Dio became her manager,
right.
Ronnie, his wife. And they knew Danny Johnson because of Vinny Appice had played in a band called Axis.
I was going to say, he was Axis. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And the bass player was Danny's brother-in-law, and he joined Rod Stewart.
Okay.
Getting his name, Jay Davis. So they said, what about Danny Johnson? We thought, we'd seen Danny play with Derringer like 5 years before that. I saw him in Boston at a college gig when we were in New England. I saw his band, Danny and the Bandits, playing in some bars in Santa Monica when we were Alcatrazz. So we kind of had our eye on him. We knew him, friends and stuff. We said, well, what about that? So we said, come on down and see how that sounds. We came down, we played. It sounded pretty good. We put some songs together, and we did a second album for Capital, which is our third album. And it just kind of ran its course that it was just, I don't know how to...
Too much baggage attached to it from the bass?
Yeah, it had taken a long time to switch over, and we lost a momentum of time. And we weren't getting promoted right again through management. The management wasn't as strong as you would think that Ronnie D would be. And they weren't strong enough with Capital to get, video of this and do that, tour support. And so at the end of that, the band broke up. So we parted ways. So Danny was more of just, a bluesy guitar player. Yeah. And he's been in Steppenwolf for the last 10, 12 years and, done okay for himself. But he's that straight guitar player. He had a hard time, of course, playing our other stuff live. Steve gave him guitar lessons and, told him how to set the digital delay and all that stuff on and all his gear. Took him to his house and said, here's the actual lick, and Danny, try and practice it. It's like, it's tough. If you're not
Steve Vai.
I'm not going to come tomorrow and play Weather Report music, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but Danny was a good guy, and we did that, and we kind of baffled people a third time. So now we've got 3 different audiences going, and I just had a baby in the middle of that. That was interesting. Right in the middle of the basic tracks of that third record. We had a baby. So this changes things. Graham had, just before Alcatrazz started, he had twins.
Wow.
She had to wait to go to his house to play because of the quarantine thing.
Oh. So
it was the 3 of us in his garage way back when playing these songs. A lot of songs Graham had written. And speaking of that the songwriting thing, I see a lot of things online. All these people say things, that Yngwie was a whole show kind of thing. Everybody else is chopped liver. Graham wrote a lot of those songs. Graham's a great bass player. He's done albums as a bass player. He's had half a dozen solo albums, played with everybody from Cozy Powell, all of them. The whole Whitesnake crowd have backed up Graham at one point or another. He's a great musician, and we had a lot of songs. And then Yngwie came along and contributed like a bridge or a verse or a quarter ending. Jimmy did the same thing, but our manager decided it looked cool saying BMW. So it was Bon, Malmsteen, and maybe Waldo. Where the big song, Island in the Sun, was actually Jimmy's song, and it was a song we were going to do with New England for our 4th album that never came to be. It's the same chord progression, and Graham wrote different lyrics to it. And I could play both songs, and you'll hear New England and Alcatrazz, the same song.
So he didn't take credit away from Jimmy on that, did he?
He wrote the bridge. Bow, dow, 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 dow. That was it. So you got a songwriting credit, split it 3 ways. So people see that and they think, oh, he wrote the whole thing, and that's because that's why they sounded different after that. And it's not the case. I mean, Graham, there's a song called General Hospital that Graham wrote on guitar. It was plunk, 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 plunk. That's what we called it, plunk, plunk originally. And again, Yngwie wrote a little part in the chorus. Yngwie has some of his own songs, of course, full on his songs. Graham wrote lyrics for, and that was cool. It was we did that whole record quickly. The first album was done in about 2 months of meeting each other. We bam in the studio and we nailed that thing and popped out. Again, we're on a small little record company that had no promotion. Good news, we got a record deal at a place to rehearse to put money into it, but they didn't do promotion properly. So that hurt the first album with Yngwie. That's why we jumped to Capitol Records, and the first company got raided by the FBI.
Oh, wow. Let me ask you a question. This is like probably a very ignorant question, but doesn't I'm just thinking as a business guy. So if you're hiring someone to work for you, right, like a manager, right, don't they have a fiduciary responsibility to you to work?
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, how do you just say, well, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm going to not only not work for you, but I'm going to screw you. Yeah.
And still want my 20 grand for this or 10 grand for that down the road because you owe me whatever. And it was unbelievable. And we thought, we'd work with Bill Coyne, who manages Kiss with New England. Bill was our manager. We were together about 3 years probably into our almost 4th album. Always split up at the time amicably. There was no transfer of money. Nobody owed anybody anything. We just call it a day. And friends. And that was good. This other guy, since we had done that, we thought we got under control. We know what we're doing with managers and all that. And our new guy just, what happens, he started getting into drugs. So he was stealing money and doing all kinds of snaky things. That was the main problem. And then he got Yngwie and that stuff. Yngwie hit it hit a damn oak tree one night. It was Jaguar. Can't drive for beans. we took him for some driving lessons up in Laguna Beach. And Jimmy Waldo had like a 1978 Buick station wagon, one of the last big American station wagons. And we're up on the cliffs over the ocean. Yngwie's driving, both of us like cats on the side of it. Jimmy and I drove taxi cabs in Boston. And we don't scare easy. We used to route race on Beacon Street doing 90 miles an hour through the streets of Boston and trying to flip the cars. And this guy gets in the car. It's like, whoa. And it's just I'm trying to think what I was going to say about the record company down in Rockshire the owner said he wasn't going to do payola. But in the meantime, he embezzled $24 million from Howard Hughes through his wife.
Nice.
And they only found 12. He went to a white-collar prison for 5 years. He got 12 in a tin can someplace. I'm sure he's doing fine now.
Wow.
But he's hurt us in that he didn't know what he was doing. It was a good deal. We get signed up right away without demos and get it going. But it hurt us when the album came out. The album never got past 130, 120 in the charts, the original Alcatrazz album in Yngwie. Should have been right up there with anybody else. And,
what kept, after Vi left, what made you guys even say, okay, let's try this again? Like, and how come you just didn't say, well, this wasn't, that's a blessing and a curse kind of a thing,
Yeah. Well, it's our brand. We want to keep it going.
Yeah.
I just had a baby and we got bills to pay and things like that. And sure, maybe I can join some other band out there, a bunch of them. Maybe not, you know. So it's a tricky thing. So we try to keep it going. Graham had, again, 2 kids who were, at that point, they were, 3 years old, twins. It's not cheap to live in Los Angeles by any means.
God, no.
So we could try to keep the thing going as long as we could. So it's one of those, like you're being pursued and you got 3 flat tires and the glass is all gone.
Yeah. That's what it's like. And then you kept going. That was
all the fenders are bent.
Wow. So
we're just driving down the road. But it was good. It was good. It was a great music we could play to all 3 guys. I've been fortunate to play a lot of great guitar players over the years in different styles and be able to play bass along with those guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm the guy holding the fort down. They get to do all the fun stuff and staying out there in the spotlight and wail. And I'm back there holding the fort down. That's what the bass players do. So
absolutely.
Different ballpark with bass players versus guitar players. And a lot of people still to this day don't understand what bass players do. The average person, your cousin or your aunt, they don't know. And you say, well, go out to the car and put the radio on. Sounds great. Then roll the bass off.
Yeah. Then they'll know pretty quick. Now, well, this audience listening here, they know everybody here is a player, so everybody's fully aware of that. What, wow, I can't believe that, man. Are you, after that happened, were you sort of south on things no, not things, but just,
no, just next, next.
Yeah.
Now what are we going to do, know? And that's how I got in with Jonas Hansen, who also is a great guitar player. And Jonas, all the guys that played on Yngwie's first album were in a Swedish band called Silver Mountain. And Jonas was the lead guitar player for that band. They're all from Malmo, Sweden. They're all from Yngwie's hometown. They all know each other.
Right.
So Jonas followed those guys to L.A., and Yngwie's got them work for $100 a week and all the grief they can take. And I met Jonas, and so let's play some songs. And I got Jan from Alcatrazz in as the drummer, and we did another album. And that was going along great. So I got, a baby and another one coming, and we got this new band, Jan, I, and Jonas. And it's the same kind of, it's like first chapter Alcatrazz, sounding great. And then right into the 1994 Northridge earthquake, and we were right in the epicenter of the whole thing, right there next to Northridge. 856 people died in my neighborhood. It was a big, I've been like 5 or 6 earthquakes before that, big deal. But this one took the cake. The houses are up and down. And my wife said, we're moving to Michigan. It's like, huh? I'm not going to do it in Detroit, except maybe play in Ted Nugent's band if I get lucky.
Yeah.
Well, someone's got to die first before I get a gig there. There's not much going on in Detroit. But I went there and raised my kids and stuff. And
why Detroit? Was she from there or something?
Yeah, she was from there.
Oh, okay. Are you still with the same wife?
No. No, we were together for 20 years. Our kids now are in their 30s.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And I worked in the family business, which was marinas. So I drove heavy equipment, pulled boats out of the water, learned how to run acetylene torches and all kinds of fun stuff.
So you're like a regular working stiff at that point.
Yeah. And I played with some local guys in Detroit, did a couple records with some local guys that are really good players. The albums never really got released and did anything, but we put records out. And right around 2003, we got back together again as New England and started. John had left the band, and we got back in touch after 27 years, and we did a few songs, recorded a few songs, thought that was great. And Hirsch, the drummer, said, "Let's play live." And we said, "Are you crazy?" He goes, "No, let's play it." There's Steven Tyler's doing this benefit, for all his women's shelters. We can play there. So we did. And we stole the show. It was great. When we came back the next year, did the same thing again. And Jimmy would come from Los Angeles. I'd come from Detroit. The other two guys live in Boston. And we've been doing that on and off for the last 12 years. And we've come to LA a few times. And we went to Japan, which is great. So again, everyone comes from other states and villages, and we play, rehearse a bit, and go out and play. So that's been going on the whole time.
And I give you credit. Do you, my kids aren't as old as yours. They're 28, 26, and 18, but I'm well aware, they don't usually know what's going on or the sacrifices you made or anything until they're in their late 20s. Maybe they have kids of their own even.
Right.
What you did was really cool. You like gave up your career to raise your kids. That's like, fuck, that's like as admirable a thing as a human being, as a guy can do.
Yeah. You just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Just do the right thing.
Right. But it's not always the easy thing.
Special. One of my kids is sick too. One of my kids has got special needs. That's another problem. We need family support kind of thing. Another reason we're going to Michigan and LA, we didn't have that.
Gotcha.
And in the meantime, I just, kept practicing. And I kept saying, an hour, 2 hours a day, I'm going to keep practicing. I'm not going to give up. I'm not, no matter what I'm painting the house or something, I'm still going to keep my fingers going around that neck. And one of the funny things was I'm the guy on my block that fix all the kids' bicycles and the GoBots and the Zoids and put the arms back together on my workbench, and screw them back together. And my youngest son's like in 6th grade. About half dozen these little guys coming through the house all the time, and I'm just Colin's dad. That's fine. So one night I go into his room to read him the riot act about doing his homework, and the music is playing, and I'm saying, "Turn that stuff off. Let's get down." And I realized it's an Alcatrazz song. Wait. I said, "What station is that?" He goes, "It's not the radio, Dad. It's the computer." And it turns out that we're on the soundtrack for Grand Theft Auto 3. God Bless Video's on the Steve song. And the program guys love that. God Bless Video. And so the next day I had 6 of these little kids in my house going, holla, 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 holla.
That's so cool.
And it snapped in. And I said, "Calm, downstairs we got a room full of guitars and pictures of me and James Brown and stuff. The other dad's got that stuff."
That's really cool.
So it's fun for that. My one other quick story like that. My grandson, I've got a grandson who's in 9th grade at the moment. They took him down to the local School of Rock place franchise when they were like in 2nd grade to see if the kids want to take lessons. So my daughter's there with them, and there's this young kid about 20 years old, long blonde hair, little rock star guy. And my grandson's going, "Hey, my grandfather, he's famous. He's a famous rock guy." And the kid's going, "Yeah, right, kid, sure." And my grandson keeps up. He's going, "No, really, he's really, really famous." And the kid's going, "Yeah, sure." And my daughter can hear the conversation. Finally, the kid says, "Okay, kid, so what's your grandfather's name?" And my grandson goes, "Grandpa Gary."
Grandpa Gary.
My daughter told the guy that I played with Alcatrazz, and the manager came flying out of the office. "He lives in this town and we don't know this? Oh, have him come down and talk to us. Please, I'd love to meet the guy."
That's cute, man.
Yeah, all the feathers are going and stuff. That was great. Grandpa Gary.
Grandpa Gary. That's awesome, man.
So yeah, I went gray man for a while, and then just kept playing, jam with the guys I know around Detroit. I had a 3-piece band for a while. We're out there in bars playing Robin Trower songs and stuff, and cover songs and everything. And that was fun for a few minutes.
Yeah. Do you sing?
Yeah, I don't. One of the things I wish I had done was sing more when I was younger.
Yeah,
and I didn't do it. I was singing in high school with my first band, and for some reason I stopped. Didn't like the way my voice sounded, and I've been singing more lately. I took up the ukulele about 4 years ago, and that's been really good for singing. I want to sing. I'm just singing the songs like "On the Road Again" or "When You're Smiling." I just sing along the ukulele.
Yeah, okay.
The guitar. I left the guitar playing when I was about 15, and I can play with a guitar, but not a guitar player per se. With ukulele, I've got a little repertoire, about 20 songs, and I've just been singing and singing. So now with New England, I sing live. We've got the ukulele incorporated in one of the songs, one of our acoustic. We have an acoustic set, so I play the ukulele instead of the bass, and that's been kind of fun. So things keep moving along, Never too old to keep learning things.
No, man. School's never out for the pro,
Yeah.
I asked you that because you said Trower, and his bass player's name had an incredible.
Jimmy.
What's that?
Jimmy Dewar.
Oh, what a great voice that guy had.
Yeah, I auditioned for a band called Blue with Jimmy McCulloch.
Who's that?
He played with Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Old young kid, short kid. He was in Wings for a couple of records, and just after, while we're still getting kicked out of England, they asked Peter French and I to go over and meet these guys, and I went over and played with them. But the guy wanted Jimmy Dewar to be the bass player, and that's who became the bass player. Was Robin Trower's guy, who eventually then became Robin Trower's guy. So I met all these guys, coming and going and auditions, and like I said, some work out, some didn't.
Sure. What a great voice. He passed early, I think. Didn't he die of cancer? I think at a young age. Natural
causes, and it's like so. There's a guy from Wings, and then when we auditioned guitar players for Alcatrazz, we auditioned Lawrence Jubar from Wings.
Yeah, I know that name.
And that was kind of funny. We thought he was just some guy that was, we didn't think it was the guy. And when we played him, the first thing he asked us if we can turn down. They said, "No, you're not the guy." Yeah,
probably not a good fit. Yeah, probably not a good fit.
Next time we played with Yngwie, and he knew every Richie Blackmore Deep Purple song there is, so we played along with that stuff and had the Marshall thing going.
Yeah,
Lawrence is more acoustic guitar and that kind of thing. Great guitar player.
Looking back, if you could give advice, what advice would you have given yourself that would have made your life easier? Musically, business-wise, personally, then nothing specific.
Musically, probably keep up on reading better, just to do other gigs here, expand your chops, whatever. I can follow chord charts, but I can't sight read. And I've tried a number of times over the years, and you got to really do it for a long time and practice that.
Yeah,
it's hard. You don't have time to do that sometimes, so you run around doing other things. I started doing it when I was about 18 and thought, great, I'm learning bass clef, and it's not that hard. Just got to practice it. But I didn't. So if I had anything to change, I would do that.
Just read.
And like I said before, sing. Everyone should sing. Everyone should sing all the notes of the scales while they're playing them, and just get your ear in tune with the intervals. It helps. And some people don't sing. And singing bass player is one of the hardest things there is. I mean, guys like Sting and Geddy Lee, how do you do that? So I practiced the hell out of the bass first, and then try and sing it. But the bass playing, you're doing different thing. You're not just playing a chord; you're playing a whole different counterpart to what your vocal's doing. It's difficult. Yeah. So it takes time. So I'd say singing and that, typing. Nothing major, maybe. I'm lucky. I've done what I've done without knowing how to read music. I know guys that can read music backwards, never going to have a platinum record or a tour, go to Japan and play in arenas and all that stuff. So who wins? I don't know whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, whatever makes you happy. Man,
yeah, but only little things like that I'd actually change. I'm glad I did what I did, that I was just kamikaze and just kept calling numbers in the newspaper and saying, I'll be over, I got to London the first day, and I saw an ad for Barefoot Jerry, and I called. I said, I'll be there at 5 o'clock. I didn't go. I met Michael Kirby in the street that afternoon, and we had a whole different fork in the road there.
Wow.
But I was, just making phone calls and all that. That's how I got on with Michael Monarch. I had ex-Steppenwolf guitarist, Seek's rock bass player. And when I called him up, he was bummed out that I was from Connecticut. They wanted English guys.
Oh, they wanted, of course.
Yeah, you come over anyway. So I went over and we played Memphis and a bunch of songs, acoustic guitars and bass with no amp. And they said, oh, you're in. And I said, really? And it turns out that something happened in the middle of that, but they placed one of the guys first. And then Herman and I got that gig, and it was great, playing some cool stuff. But again, answering ads in the paper. Don't be shy. Make yourself known. Just get out there and go for it.
It's interesting. I spoke to, do you know Billy Vera? Billy and the Beaters? Yeah,
Billy and the Beaters. They used to play all the time right up the street from in the Central, which is now the Viper Room.
That's interesting. I asked him if there's anything he would have done different. He said one of the biggest things why he really never became super popular is because he said, I didn't let myself be known enough. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, and he said Neil Sedaka as an example. He goes, that guy will start singing in the middle of McDonald's.
Right.
To let you know he could sing. He goes, and I really should have done that more, because he had a very good voice, really soulful voice. And he was a good songwriter.
Yeah, they did great. They never got out of the local band things. Them and Motels, a little scene going on at that time. Motels got out of it. But Billy and Bear and those guys just, I don't know what happened. They were a great band.
They're really big in that.
A bunch of times.
Yeah. But he said that's what, he had, there's some record company issues, but he said the bottom line was that I didn't promote myself hard enough. And if, looking back, I shouldn't have been. Because he was a very shy guy. Because he goes, people used to see me with all these women and stuff. He goes, I never approached any of them. They would just come to me. And, and even then I kind of was like awkward with them. He was just a shy by nature.
Right. It was like New England. We had no band name. When we got signed up, we got signed up on the strength of a demo tape we'd done in Philadelphia. It was a strong 16-track tape in 78. Nobody had 16-track demo tapes, so we did.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it sounded great. And we want to hook up with Bill O'Connor, Lieber Krebs, or Vazov as a big manager, and think big, work backwards, not try and get with our cousin Joey because he means well, but really secure a real deal. We had Clive Davis come to see us from Arizona without any manager at all, on the strength of these demos, and go, who the hell are these guys in Massachusetts? Well, we had no name. So we were going to call ourselves. Somebody said New England, and I said, yeah, right. After Boston gets famous, we're going to call ourselves New England. But think about it. That stirred a lot of attention.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They hate us for it. There's still people in Boston still hate us for it. The radio in Boston hate us. They never play our. It's like, I'm from Connecticut. Tom Schultz is from Ohio. Bug off.
Yeah, right. At least it's genuine.
I grew up with the name New England since I was a little kid. And John Fannin is from Boston. He's just got the accent. So we took the name. And that's promoting yourself, especially in the KISS world. Big is best.
Oh, absolutely with that. Absolutely.
And it was a wonderful experience to be in that whole camp and work with Todd Rundgren. And that was all pre-Yngwie. Yngwie didn't get that we'd done all this other stuff. Been there and done that we didn't want to call the band Excalibur. That was another big discussion.
Yeah, man, it's
Dungeons and Dragons thing. It's like, no, so many bands doing that. So we argued one day. We're sitting around arguing about the name. Record's about to come out. We have no name yet, and we're thinking Hunter or Blue Tiger or something like that. And I'm sitting there saying, when we're in New England. And you go in a record store, you kind of flip through the A's and you go work around. You might go up to the Z's and see Frank Zappa, but you never go to the ends. And New England got stuck between Olivia Newton-John and New Rise at the Purple Sage. Nobody goes in the end section of the records. It's like, it's not happening. And I said, it'd be cool if we had a name like Aerosmith or ABBA or Alcatrazz. Everybody's like, that's brilliant.
And so that's how Alcatrazz came up. That's like when people, in the old days for the phone book, people would have a business, they'd call it A1.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for a plumber or something, or A Atchin,
Right. I live here on A1A, right here on the Coast Highway,
right,
on the Atlantic Ocean. Everything's A1A air conditioning, A1A upholstery. And so it was just off the cuff remark on my part. I'm not brilliant, but I get credit for the brilliant name. It's a great marketing name for like a rock. The new album is called Parole Denied.
That's great. Alcatrazz, right. Parole Denied. Yeah. That's really cool.
And all that no parole and all the disturbing the peace, all those police things. And we didn't want it a stage like Elvis Presley's tiered stage that he does on his video for Jailhouse Rock, where the drums would be up in the air. We have girls in prison uniforms with spotlights and be actual background singers, and the rest of us down on the floor. And that would be if we had got to the next step of being able to afford to bring that kind of thing on the road, that's what we would have evolved in. So we had all those ideas and the best made plans of Mice and Men.
Yeah, man. This is like an old age home show for you, two of us here. Mike Douglas, Mice and Men.
You talk about, dusting yourself off. New England, we're doing great, 3 albums, and we're doing great. We've done all these tours, all those other bands. And our guitar player quit out of the clear blue. Just, I don't know what he wanted to do. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He was having problems. So now what? So we're looking for guitar players, call a bunch of guys, call all the guitar companies up. And Gene Simmons calls. We got this guy named Vinny Casano out in L.A. He's from Connecticut. He played with Laura Nyro and a bunch of people like that. And he's a great songwriter, but he's too short to be in Kiss. You guys can have him. So Vinny sent us this tape of his demo. And we thought, wow, it's like heavy Foreigner. It was like right for the radio, but heavier. And we said, this is great. So we, just as a lark, we learned his songs in Boston. He flew to L.A., he learned our songs and flew to Boston. We picked him up, brought him to our studio 11 o'clock at night out in the woods and launched into his demo tape. He just couldn't believe what he was hearing. He's like, well, that's unbelievable because I can't find guys in LA that can do this. You guys are unbelievable. So we decided to drop the New England name rather than have him try and emulate John, who was the singer, guitar writer, guitarist, singer, and chief songwriter. 3 things in one. It's really hard to find in one person.
Yeah.
That we go off with Vinny and just call it something else and just drop what we're doing and go a little beefier. So we did. That's is the band called Warrior. There was just an album out on Jay read about called Warrior. And it's the demo tapes, rehearsal tapes of that band. It only lasted like 2 months. But it was Vinnie Vincent joins New England. And people don't know that whole chapter of the music. So we go to LA with Vinnie Vincent. Before I met Yngwie, I'm playing with Vinny. And Vinny's a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Really good guitar player. He kind of lost his whole thing in his own band. He thought he had to start playing fast like Yngwie and started getting trashy. And I don't think he should have done that. He played really cool like Jeff Beck, just really tasteful, cool chirps and things, and had a great finger picking style. And he threw it all away to play really fast and furious. And so I don't think he should have done that. Hurt him, in my opinion. But it was great to play with him as well. And John Fan, I think, was a great guitar player. He also finger picks and plays some really cool stuff. That in that band we thought was like an English band. Another name for the band New England was that we were influenced by English bands and had the Mellotrons and the Moody Blues kind of thing and early King Crimson kind of stuff we wanted to do, as opposed to being more of a boogie, straight ahead rock and roll band from the late 70s. A lot of those bands out there at the time. So we had set ourselves to be that. So bouncing back and forth.
No, man, it's just wild. And you're like, you're pretty zen about all this, which is admirable. Yeah. I mean, or unless you're just exhausted and I don't know, one of the two.
And my hair should be pure white or whatever.
Yeah.
And when was it? It was when Vinny joined Kiss. It's a good story. Vinny joins Kiss, and I'm going, now what? Shoot me! I'm 31 years old. When my life is over, it sucks. And I got these white pimples on my face, and I'm shaving, and I'm cutting my face like crazy. And what's with this? looks like white measles. I go to the doctor. He goes, it's nerves, you idiot. Calm down.
Holy crap. I mean, well, guitar players have been your bane of existence.
Yeah. So he froze them off. And from that day on, I calmed down. I took it down another notch. Don't get so excited about this stuff. And I had that problem again.
That's good. Zen. I mean, you can.
Right. Nerves can kill you. People get crazy. And it sends the wrong things through your body, and you have problems with your organs, and you leave.
No, stress is terrible, man. If you don't manage it and exercise and do shit like that, man, for sure.
Right.
Let me ask you. This will be a fun question. Desert Island Discs.
It's hard.
It is hard.
How do you put it in 4 or 5 records? I mean, it's like easy 20. Everyone's got easy 20, 25 records they love. And I always play the first Jimi Hendrix album. You always go back to it. You know?
Yeah, right.
You not count that in there, you know, but you could cite other records like the Jeff Beck, The Truth album. That was a great record. The first King Crimson album with Greg Lake was...
What, with 21st Century Schizoid Man?
They never did that again. When he quit the band, the band became something else.
I agree with you.
Of that.
I have that album in frames somewhere here in the closet. I love that record, man.
When I heard the Mellotrons and the English kind of medieval flutes and the guitars and lutes and things, it just brings back a whole different kind of time. And you can really just zone off and listen to that. And it's not, come on, mama, we're going to rock your face into the dirt tonight. You know, we're all going to party. It was different than that. And I like that other.
And the cover, man, just the cover itself, how trippy was that thing, man? I always looked at that, man. I said, man, someone had to be stoned when they put this shit together. Because it was really a very trippy cover. Right.
And I was in London, and Michael Corbin and I had jobs cleaning flats. A couple of us. We were domestics, so we had the hoovering and the washing up. And we had clients and everything. It was just light housekeeping. And I'm in the embassy part of town. This, these flats, like 14 rooms. And then come all these Italian guys, long hair, and a bunch of BMWs floating. They're all yelling and screaming, long-haired guys, and they're carrying guitars and violins. And it's the band PFM from Italy, which was Marconi's Express. And they're Italy's premier progressive rock band. And Greg Lake had brought them to England to record for Manowar.
Oh, wow.
What do you do? I play bass. Well, come on, we're going over to Greg's house. Okay, we're going over to Greg Lake's house. Let's go. I get in the car. We go to Greg's house. I'm having tea with his mother going, pinch me.
Holy shit. So they're like, you got to hang out with Greg Lake for the afternoon.
We went to an Italian restaurant that night, and all the girls were just going crazy over these guys. Had a great meal. About 2 months later, my girlfriend from Connecticut came to England. And I took her to this restaurant. She got food poisoning. They wouldn't talk to us. The food was terrible. It was a whole different world. You can't repeat the magic all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And in L.A., speaking of Emerson Palmer, being an influence musically, I met Greg. Like, I didn't say a word about playing bass. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
Don't go there. And really nice guy. Loved that music. And I was in L.A., there was a woman that was trying to put together an agency for out-of-work musicians and place people with bands. And I met a girl who said she was going out with Keith Emerson. Would I want to go to a dinner party next week? There was 6 people. And I said, sure. What do I got to do, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to buy a new shirt, I'm going to be Keith Emerson, And just before they said, I was on my way there, they said, you mind stopping by and picking up a friend of ours, has no ride. I said, okay. And I go to this place, ring the doorbell. Out comes this nice little blonde girl. We got married, 3 kids.
Oh, that became your wife
through Keith Emerson. I went to the party. He had written a song, a Christmas song, with the usual choir of school kids singing, like 40 kids.
That song, Father Christmas.
It wasn't the Greg Lake thing. It was a Keith Emerson song.
Okay.
I think they saw a light of day because he had another version, which was a blue version. He had his kids swearing.
That's funny.
It's hysterical. And he didn't have it in time for the Christmas release. But because the deal was he was looking for a bass player. I forgot that. My friend said he's looking for a bass player. I said, yeah, like I got a shot in hell if that ever happened. I said, we'll call it ESP, it was Shea and Palmer.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I went to the party and didn't really talk much about music or anything. Because again, I have no chance of doing that. But I met my future wife.
So your first wife was from the UK?
No, she's from Michigan actually, but she was living in Los Angeles.
Oh,
that was the Keith Emerson thing was in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. I thought it was in England. Okay.
Yeah, a few years later in Los Angeles, I met Keith Emerson.
Okay.
At a party in LA.
That's kind of cool.
Met my wife through that.
Oh, that's good, man.
It's a lot of everyone knows a third person. Somebody knows somebody else. And
yeah.
It's amazing over the years, all the people that have come and gone. And I have a nephew that's in Nashville now trying to be a bass player, and I'm trying to tell him that, he was kind of saying, I have to go to a photo shoot. I don't like that, And I said, it's the music business. It's only 20% music. The rest is business.
You got to get in front of people. You're not going to, no one's going to.
Yeah, you got to kiss babies, and then you get to play. And then when you get to play, you got to be good at it.
Yeah.
You got to be in the right place at the right time. But 80% of lawyers and meetings and promoting yourself and going to record stores, that's all part of it. Anybody that doesn't want to do that, you're not going to get very far because you've got to do that.
I think it's like that in almost every business now, though. It's like you're not going to make money or sit in your house.
Right.
No one's knocking on your door. You got to get out there, meet people, make connections, make things happen, and just be yourself. I mean, don't be a dick about it. Just, be yourself, and things naturally, organically seem to happen and work out like that.
And you got to push it. I had a fish and chips restaurant in Detroit for a couple of years with a friend of mine.
Was that a layover from the UK or something?
Yeah, well, actually, a friend of ours from Switzerland came to Detroit, and he had seen a guy in Florida had a shop in somewhere in Miami. Thought it was a great idea to get one, so he got one. And then we got a second one going. And it's the same thing, promote a restaurant. So I'm trying to promote a restaurant. So I'm trying to use my music thing to promote another business, And I want to have my son out there just like an elf with the sign. He said, I'll never talk to you again, Dad.
You got to do what you got to do, man. You got to get traffic, No one's coming in unless you bring them in.
Yeah, get out there, come back here and get the apron and sweep the back room.
That's fun. Is there a big English population there?
No, but we thought that people haven't had fish, and all the fish chips places have gone to the wayside. And what happened was the price of fish is so expensive, it's hard to sell it for cheap. And the cheap stuff is just really crumb. It's not even cod. So we tried to have the best cod you can get. And with 1 year, the price doubled. From $20 a box to $40. So now I don't get a raise. We can't raise to $7.95, $8.95 to $14.50.
Yeah,
having people burn the place down. So I bowed out of that after 3 years, but it was kind of fun doing that.
Yeah.
And again, you keep pushing, and you never know who people are when you meet them. Mm-hmm. And that's a wise lesson of all this time is you never know who people are. Don't dismiss anybody. Don't be dismissive. Don't write anybody off. You never know. Even like some guy on the bump could be some Harvard guy that had bad times. You don't know that. So I was in my restaurant one night, and I was closing. I turned off the fryers and shut the place down. In come three hippies, long hair and earrings, two guys and a girl. And they sit down and start ordering everything on the menu, going, no, I want to go home. Get out of here. Go away, And I get out there, and they're ordering the whole sampler platter. Now I'm thawing out crab cakes, and I'm cooking clams, and I got everything going. I'm by myself, and I gave them some deep-fried macaroni wedges on the house. I said, I'm kind of by myself. Give me a second.
Yeah.
The whole thing, got them everything they had the whole thing going on. And finally, the guy, I get out there, and the guy, the most hippie-looking guy, looks at me and he goes, "That was really good. Thanks." And I said, well, thank you very much. Come again. He goes, "No, that was really good. Thanks again." And I said, "Thanks." He goes, "I'm the food critic for the Detroit News." I said, oh. He goes,
holy crap.
This place is great, and you're great. I want to put you I want to write an article on you guys. Hell yeah. So I told my partner, and he called next day. My partner's last name's Leonardowitz. I'll call for the spelling tomorrow. He did. 2 weeks later, he put out a column in his paper, and literally 400 or 500 people showed up on our doorstep. We had to close the place. We ran out of food.
Wow.
And we got a big thing in the paper about what a great place it was, and the owner was a great guy. Didn't say a word about music or anything like that. Just I have to have my restaurant in a strip mall.
That's great, man. But yeah, you're right. You never know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, ever. You can't discount that. I'm the food critic, and I'm running a restaurant. Great.
Hey, man. Good.
Yeah. So give them the time of day.
Tough question. Real tough for like almost everybody I ask this to. What do you like most about yourself, Gary?
I think I'm easy to get along with. I'm pliable. I work hard at that. I try and keep my anger to a dull roar and hope for the best.
How about the flip side? If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Have more patience. Just be more patient. I kind of run off real quick. I get excited, start yelling. It's like just calm down and just to hold back a bit more. Don't be impatient or trying to be impatient. Something's going to happen. It may take 3 or 4 days as opposed to 1 or whatever.
I know I've learned things rarely happen on my time frame.
Yeah, I mean, to have both our bands up and running again, there's some severe patience going on there. I just never gave up.
God.
Someday. I said, why can't we get together? We're still friends. What's stopping us from playing those songs? I mean, people still like it, so why shouldn't we play live? And we've made some records and had that. We've got a presence again on social media, if nothing else. And that's good. But now we're on Frontiers Records, we're on King Records in Japan. And we're back kind of not in the saddle per se like we were, but we're back in action, having fun.
Hey, you're playing and you're having fun and you're making a little bit of money and great. You're getting some exposure. What's the downside there? Zero.
Yeah.
And you're having fun, man. I'm sure like your relationship with these guys now is probably a little more laid back and less
we're
stressed
working
out.
As far as the traveling thing, now it's not the same anymore. Now it's everything's carry on an airplane and you're the roadie and all that stuff. Jimmy's playing with Graham. They've done probably 90 shows since last year. I think they're in Spain tonight. And it's, cheap and cheerful. Everything he's got is like just I remember we had a half a truck of keyboards, Hammond organ, 2 Mellotrons, synthesizers, ARP Quadra, foot pedals, huge racks of power amps and stuff. And now everything he's got fits in he's got two keyboards and everything fits, all the Apple stuff fits in a case, and that's it.
Yeah, because of all the computer stuff.
Yeah, and you rent an SVT and just take the bass, and same with the guitar backline, and just show up the guitar, some drumsticks, and some cymbals and keyboards, and now we play. And we don't really need a semi full of gear like we used to have.
Which is good because
that costs money.
Costs a ton of money, yeah. Tell me something about yourself, man. People would be surprised to hear or might find a little odd.
Well, I don't know. When I was in school, I liked reading history and literature, and I always fascinated about Europe and every place, whether it's the pyramids or China. So I thought I might like to be an ancient history teacher on the college level, that I could make it interesting and everybody get an A because they're what I said, as opposed to some boring history teachers that just they're boring. And people hate history because of that. History is actually the story of what happened already. And everyone should understand why things are happening because it's all connected.
Yeah.
Whether it's the election yesterday or it's the 300 years ago in this country, or I just came back from Rome. I was in Rome last week for 3 weeks. And I'm at the Colosseum and going, this is nuts,
Yeah.
And we were in Volterra and the Etruscans, and they're going back 3,000 or 4,000 years BC, and they don't even know who they were, where they came from. But it all feeds into the Romans into Europe, and England comes to America. So history is an amazing story, and I thought I'd like to do that, but the music bug got me. Halfway through high school, I said, I want to do this. This is what I want to do.
That's interesting, man. You're a history buff.
So,
happiest time in your life?
Well, be my kids being born. kind of thing. I mean, nothing can compare with that. I saw all three of my kids be born, and that's pretty amazing.
How old are your kids?
32, 31, and 28. And I have a daughter and 2 sons. And that's the pinnacle of that. The other stuff would be both bands, when both bands were up and running and just doing great. It was a great feeling of accomplishment after driving taxi cabs and, vacuuming people's houses and working in car washes and done all that. I've done all those kind of crummy jobs here and there at one point or another. Some people haven't, I have. But it makes you appreciate when things go better also.
Yeah. I drove a taxi cab midnight in the Bronx.
There you go.
Yeah. Did a lot of shitty jobs. Yeah, I totally get it.
Our cabs had no shield. It's like, this is nuts.
Oh, of course not. No, I used to have to take, this was really disturbing. Even I was a young kid myself. I'd have to take these young girls and guys my age. I was, 18, 19 at the time, to these shooting galleries, which is basically an abandoned house where people go to buy heroin and shoot up.
Right.
And I was really sad. I wasn't old enough to process and understand, but I just knew this was like a really horrible state. And then I was, of course, scared shitless because I'd have to wait outside in, down in the Bronx. And, so I just have like an antenna going like, left and right. But so you do those things. You really appreciate, you don't mind working hard, sitting behind a desk, or in your case, playing a bass. It's really easy to do that,
Right.
Yeah. So I feel you, man. Most important person in your life?
My mother, I guess. She was always very supportive. She fed everybody when I was in high school. I had a high school band we were called The Insane.
That's a good name.
And we rehearsed up in our attic, lived over a bar. And there'd always be like, a dozen of us every night after school. I worked in a grocery store till like 6 o'clock, and we rehearsed every night. And we played every weekend all through high school, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday. And every time we did well and won battles of bands, we went down to Manny's, New York, and buying more microphones and basses and guitars and clothes. I had a custom-made suit for my high school graduation as corduroys too.
That's nuts, man. That's crazy.
16, that was pretty cool, And so my mom supported. My grandfather played for Rudy Valley at one point. My grandfather played piano.
Played for who?
Rudy Valley.
Rudy Valley. Yeah.
Megaphone.
Yeah.
From Coates back. They say he was America's first rock star before Bing Crosby, and then it would be Frank Sinatra. But anyway, he was cool. He played piano. I had 17 first cousins, and he played piano on Christmas, and we all had a good time.
His 17 first cousins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same area. So he'd play all the, T for two kind of songs and do the Chico Marx thing on the piano with his finger and goof around and make the kids laugh. And I thought that was always pretty cool. But he died when I was 12, so I never really got to take his head for musical things or anything else. But he raised 6 kids, so
that's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
What was the most important thing your mom taught you?
Just behave. She said, you judge by who you're hanging out with.
Your mom told you that.
Bunch, they're going to get in trouble, and you're going to get in trouble with them, even though you didn't do a darn thing. You're going to be guilty by association. So choose who your friends are, and don't be silly like that. And I got it.
That's pretty cool that your mom told you that.
And like she said, we had the band. We're up there trying to learn My Generation stuff in my attic. These Fender basement amplifiers and stuff.
God, what a great bass line in there, man.
Yeah, I know, blowing speakers and stuff. And my relatives are going, how can you stand that? Just, well, at least I know where they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting in trouble at night. They're not hanging on the street corners, playing with switchblades and stuff, which was the other kids were doing. So she was cool for that. She fed everybody. And we had a great time playing.
That is cool, man. That's great advice. How about your dad? Most important thing your dad taught you?
Look sharp. Don't dress like a slob. My dad was a cop.
Your dad was a cop. Cool.
Yeah. He was a Navy guy, and he was a cop. And he was always immaculate. His uniform was always immaculate. Shiny shoes and all that stuff. They're not shiny shoes with the rag, and I was looking at him.
That's really cool.
So he was good for that.
You have any hobbies or interests outside of music, Gary?
Well, I read a lot of history. I don't know. Call my bike riding a hobby. I don't know. Ridden a lot of bicycles.
You do that. You do that like every day, don't you? Or almost every day?
Yeah, I do like 8 miles around the beach here. And every day I listen to Amazon Music and pick a different record and listen to it in my headphones. And then they post it. Today was Spirit.
Which one? That's
the one that says the Spirit on it. It's got the 5, 6 different heads with different faces. It's got Fresh Garbage on it.
Fresh Garbage. Yeah, I know that record. Yeah. That's a good record, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. I interviewed. You mentioned being in with traffic. I interviewed Dave Mason, and he was in the UK around that time. I had to be.
Oh yeah.
He had some interesting stories.
Yeah.
Talk about a specific. You've had a lot of them though. A specific experience that changed your life or altered the way you think about things.
Well, maybe a life-changing thing. My parents got separated when I was in the 4th grade. We lost our house and all that stuff. And for the next few years, I'm going like 17 schools, I think, before I got out of high school.
Oh, wow.
And I was always a new kid. And even in the one town we moved to eventually, I went to 2 kindergartens, 2 first grades, 2 4th grades, different 5th, different 6th, and 7th in high school.
Holy shit. Just because mom had or whoever had a tough time paying bills, you had to move from place to place?
Yeah, they got back together and we moved around a bit. So when I got to the high school, I knew everybody in all the other schools. So I'd been in those sections of town already. And
wow.
So I was always a new guy in town. And I don't have any older brothers or sisters.
So you're the oldest?
I got a younger brother, yeah. And so I was on my own as far as, and I took a lot of heat at that time for being by myself, and all these gangs of groups of kids would, chase you and try and push you around just for nothing else to do. Let's push this guy around. He's gotten over there. Well, he hasn't got his own army. So, I resented that. I used to work in an apple orchard after school, originally in high school, and to pay for my first guitar lessons and my Ty-Skill dual ray guitar at Bradley's, and my silver tone amp. My mom said I could get a guitar if I took some lessons. Okay, so I would come home from school 2 blocks away, change out of the school clothes back then.
Yeah. So
I'd come home and change into my work clothes and get on my bike and ride out to the orchard, $1 an hour. And all these same guys be calling me all kinds of disgusting names and, the fairy thing, we're going to kick your ass, all that stuff. I say, you guys, you stay here and work at the gas station. I'm going to be on TV someday. I'm out of here. I'm so out of here when I grow up and make your head spin.
You told him that?
Yeah, but my mind, I said to myself, I just said, screw you guys. Think you're all tough and groovy and you're smoking cigarettes. You're all going to die of lung cancer for starters. And you're all groovy and tough now, but that always shows in high school that the kids that are the coolest in high school, when they're 25, they've lost it. And the people who are the homely kids are all the future models of America. The girls are amazing. They're 25. That was a girl with buck teeth and glasses who's now on some in the Billy Joel video. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. That is very true, man.
Whoa. So I didn't think about that at the time, but I just said, you guys stay here and be tough guys. And they weren't good in school. They were all, just always in trouble and fighting. The big thing was being tough. So you stay here and, don't go to school, and I'll go be on TV someday. So I get a guitar and playing bands and stuff. And we did. We were off and running. And then I come back. Mom came back from Vietnam, and then I was smoking hash. Hey, you guys are cool. It's like, yeah, right. You guys are really cool. Yeah, where were you about 5 years ago? You want to kill me?
Wow. Wait a minute. Who went to Vietnam?
the guys that I'm talking about all got drafted.
Oh,
I go home to Connecticut for Christmas,
Oh,
and
okay.
And at the drugstore or whatever, hey man, you're really cool, and I want to hang out, and
Wow.
be like, well, you don't want to be buddies when we're in 6th grade. You want to kill me, and they want to beat me up.
Yeah, it's weird how that comes out sometimes, isn't it?
So that made me persevere and not provoke them. I thought the strategy was just stay out of their way, run if I have to. And I was on a track team when I was a freshman because I could always outrun. None of them could catch me. But I quit that to work in the apple orchard. And I gave up being on a track team. I thought maybe I could do well as a sprinter.
Yeah.
But I went and picked apples, and I quit the team to do that and get guitars. and that worked out. And that's how I became a bass player. I know you're
Yeah. How did that happen?
Well, I bought a guitar, and then I took a few lessons. I took a 10-week introduction lesson from some guy that played accordion. And he was smart. He was an accordion teacher kind of guy. And I came in with the Harmony Stella acoustic guitar that he had. They'd loan you. And I'm left-handed. I'm lefty.
Oh.
Guitar. And the guy's going, why are you doing it that way? I said, because I'm left-handed. He goes, well, think about this for a second. You don't know how to play for beans either way. So why don't you learn how to play right-handed? And I said, what do you want, crack? I said, no, that's not right. I'm a lefty. He goes, go home and think about it. And I did. And I started taking lessons right-handed. I play right-handed to this day. I can't play left-handed to save my life. Everything I do now is right. And I thought, well, it's actually a good thing because when I transfer to the bass, that my left hand is strong. So if you're playing upright bass or the electric bass,
yeah,
there's a lot of strength to keep those 4 big strings down. There's no little thin, skinny strings there.
No.
It's a work to do that. So I had that, the acoustic, I bought a Teisco Del Rey guitar. I upgraded to a Fender Stratocaster, brand new. I bought myself 1965 brand new Fender Stratocaster, 1965.
You still have that?
Of course not. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
I sold it to my friend. I took lessons from the guy in town who was the coolest guitar player. And so he and I went to this mom and pa Radio Shack kind of place to test tubes from our Fender Bassman Bandmaster amplifiers. And in this shop were some guitars on the wall, and there was a Fender bass hanging on the wall, a used one. And I was just messing around. I picked it up and I went, man, it's like an aircraft carrier. It's like a big Stratocaster, but I'm 6'1". And I was going, man, this thing's cool. Look at this sucker. You could drop it. You could break windows with it. It's a weapon. This is no fragile guitar. This is like a tank. And it was like $120. I said, I'm buying it. I'm getting it. And I bought it. I brought it home and I looked at it. Okay, now what do I do? And the guitar player showed me some licks and stuff. And I'm playing Born in Chicago and, I'm learning scales and runs and stuff. And playing, mostly simple blues kind of things in the bass, and then some Beatles songs, and and I became the bass player. And all of a sudden, there's not many bass players. A whole lot of guitar players in the world. Not many bass players. So I've never looked back on that. And I just loved the bass. I loved how like with John Ellison and the Who, it was like thunder.
Oh my God, it sure was.
The drums are loud and everything, but the bass is louder. And the bass was shaking the building. And I said, so when I grew up, I want to shake buildings. I want to do this, And I did. And that I stopped kind of playing the guitar, just spend all my time playing bass all the time, and just became a bass player. And I went to Berkeley for a semester, And the thing about Berkeley was at the time, I had a band. Everybody was at Berkeley. We were playing Mahavishnu stuff and Brian Auger songs and things, and we couldn't get arrested at the bar because we weren't playing Rolling Stones songs.
Yeah,
but we were good. But I said I want to be a jazz guy. And Berkeley back then was very jazz oriented, and
it still is.
Yeah, it's jazzy. That's good. But I said I don't want to lose the rock edge because a lot of these guys come out of school and then they can't play rock anymore. They think it's beneath them or it's primitive or they're past that. I think you're boring. And they're going to, okay, go play jazz. Go whatever you want to do. Everyone puts all kinds of music, But for my heart, I just wanted to play rock music and be creative with it and try and mold it some way to make it my own and have that. And so that's why I went to England. So I'm going to go there because that's where the rock bands are. They're not really around Boston at that time. There was nothing going on.
Aerosmith was probably about the only
they were pretty bad. They were playing the same bars we were. I thought they were horrible.
Okay, that's funny.
Cover songs, they're playing the Yardbirds songs. These guys want to be the Yardbirds. And when I came back from Boston, they got signed to Columbia. I'm going, no, those guys got a record deal, and they sure did. And they're great. And I think if I have a carbon copy in this world as a bass player, it'd be Tommy Hamilton. Everything I've ever seen him say or write, we think exactly the same.
That's interesting. Do you know him?
Not really, no.
That's
He's got one of my basses, I think, that I have a Thunderbird bass that I sold to somebody else he bought. But I really like the guy. I like his bass. I like how he plays the bass, what he does as a bass player. It's kind of the same thing we're talking, playing to the songs and stuff.
Yeah.
And
well, man, if I get him on the show, I'll make sure I connect you guys.
Yeah, because I knew of him and everything, and I came back to the deal. I went to their apartment, and my friend, who was good friends with Steven, was saying, "Hey, you got to fire Tommy and get Gary." He came back from London. I'm going, Greg, stop! Don't. These guys live together, man. They're brothers,
Yeah.
And Joe and Tommy came from New Hampshire to start the band. They moved to Boston first and got all the other guys together. Tommy is the nucleus of Aerosmith. People don't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They started the band. They knew Steven. He used to come to all the resort places in the summertime and play in good bands from New York City. And he'd go back to New York City. And he came to Boston. And they found Joey Kramer and Brad Woodford. And became Aerosmith, and they've been great. And I had my cab one day. I get a call, and a guy and his girlfriend jump in the cab, and Steven and his girlfriend go, "Oh no!" I got my coat up like this.
Oh wow!
Christmas trees. I go, "No!"
And
they just sat there while they bought the tree, threw it in the trunk, paid, kept my head down.
Oh my God!
But I'll tell you a thing about life that I learned was that after Alcatrazz broke up. After everything, I got a part-time job, and I thought, what can I do? I can't type, and useless. And I saw an ad that says driving entertainment business. I said, hey, now we're talking. Mm-hmm. A lot of driving and entertainment business. So it was delivering scripts in your own car for the movie business. And
this is where?
In Los Angeles.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah.
So I got this job, and I'm bouncing around like casting offices and stuff with delivering these scripts and things. And I get one going to Capitol Records. And I'm going, no. There's no, I said go in the front door in limousines, and I would go in the back with the UPS guys and sign in, It's like, no. And I sat in my car for like 2 hours that day. I was going to quit. I can't do this. This is stupid. And I just can't do this. And I said, screw it. I'm going in. And I went upstairs. It was lunchtime. Nobody was there. I dropped the package on the desk and ran. And I get in the elevator, and Don Grissom, who's head of their video, goes, hey, Gary, man, how you doing? I'm doing great, And he saw the shirt I had, and he said, no, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. That's very commendable. There's other guys out there stealing girls' pocketbooks at the Rainbow and Sunset. Too cool to have a job, rock star guy out there doing snaky stuff. And he goes, that's cool. And you got a kid, And I got out there. I said, he's right. There's nothing wrong with this. So, and after that point, I was cool with that. And so that was a lesson.
Well, but in retrospect, I'm sure you could look back and see that it was admirable. I mean, you took care of what you had to do, man. I mean, what was you were, it's like you had a kid, you got to be a dad,
Right. And I'd been through, some stuff when I was a kid. With my family and stuff, I knew you got to try and do the best you can and everything. So did that, but that was a good lesson too about don't worry about that,
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing before I moved to Michigan. I was working for Warner Bros. I got myself up the ladder into Warner Bros. And I was ahead of I was running Warner Brothers careers on the weekends.
That's great.
Fun facts about my former self. And I was in charge of 40 Teamster drivers and dispatched what was going where, and I'm in Clint Eastwood's kitchen, me and Clint Eastwood, Mel Gibson's house, Barbara Streisand's house, me and Barbara, nobody else in the house. This is nuts.
That's wild.
I tell my mom, and she's saying, "Who'd you meet?" I said, "I don't remember. She's a dozen people a day." So I started writing it down in my map book. And then today I got a list of about 100 people. I look back and go, wow, I don't even remember meeting Steven Seagal.
He's got a big guitar. He's got supposedly a crazy
he's a guitar guy. Yeah. I do remember meeting Steven Seagal. But there's other people in there that, they come in Victoria Principal's house 3 times. All kinds of work in Fairchild.
It's wild, man.
That was great. And I thought, I'm at the casting offices for Miami Vice. I said, man, I'm going to get in the movies. And Nugent's on Miami Vice and Gene Simmons. I said, hey, I got long hair. I can do what they're doing. I'm special.
Right.
Well, I'm more famous than I am, but, give me a shot. And I thought sooner or later you're going to wind up in some cool gig, or Clint Eastwood said, want to drive my bus for $100,000 a year? Sure, I could do that. I've driven tour buses for fun. I could drive yours for money. And, you're in the right place at the right time. You get those kind of cool gigs. And
yeah.
I was trying to take it to that level. If I'm not going to be playing music while I'm doing this, let's do something that's in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
And I'm in LA. So I'm in all the studios. I'm meeting all these people. It's only a matter of time. And Mel Brooks, come on, son, come on in here. Mel Brooks. And just pinching myself, go, this is a crazy job. And the people out there are paying to buy the maps, and stand in line for tours. And here you are in the bowels of the building. No one gets to go because you're in staff. It's like, this is cool. So I got to see a lot of things. I had all the cans of film for the show Maverick from the
That's
50s
wild.
in my van one day. The whole thing. It's just crazy stuff. So that was kind of fun. And again, I didn't feel shy about that. Just doing that, and it was a great thing. So, like you say, you do what you got to do.
Yeah,
and
man.
A lot of musicians fill in, Moonlight, got jobs, whatever. Work at the 7-Eleven, whatever you do. you gotta survive. I think one thing I always thought though was everyone always said you got to learn something to fall back on. So you're going to go to school for 4 years and be an accountant or something to fall back on what? You don't have a career. For 4 years, you were missing an action. You missed all the prime time when you were 21 to 25 or something because you stayed in town and got married to your local high school girl and you didn't audition for some crazy band in New York City, the Fugs or something. You don't know those guys. So, you weren't there. You don't get to meet Leslie West if you're not in New York City.
Right.
Or the guys in Kiss and Louis Occult guys and everybody. So I always thought that was wrong, that was a wrong philosophy to have. If you really want to be a musician or an actor, all those jobs, you have to have like part-time jobs and hope for the best, because then you're not going to have something to fall back on where you can just jump in and make some decent money a week because you got a degree from school or something that says you're a public accountant.
I find you can't fall back. You've got to keep those things concurrently, and you can maybe do it, but you can't just suddenly. Like I've been an entrepreneur working for myself for 20 years. I've had good times and bad times. I graduated college. I was a CPA. I couldn't during slow times in the last 20 years say, "Oh, let me go be an accountant."
Right.
It doesn't. If I had been an accountant the whole time concurrently, I was working part. I agree with you. It doesn't really, with rare exception, if you have some job where you could just pick up something side hustle, maybe. But
yeah,
I think I tend to agree with you with that, man.
It's hard to do that. I mean, it's hard to go to college. I wish maybe I'd finished college. I mean, I got 2.5 years into college. I went there because I was trying to stay out of the draft at the time and all that. And I liked school, but I just thought I didn't have time. I want to be at rehearsals and stuff and doing that kind of stuff, get better at my craft by playing every day, not just on the weekends. And it coincides like in New England, we decided that we weren't going to have part-time jobs in a day, that like Jim and I were going to drive cabs at nighttime.
Yeah.
And if I fall asleep, then fine. I make $5 less as a cab driver. But in the meantime, at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're kicking butt.
Yeah.
It sounds like The Who. And we tweaked out this little cottage in the woods in Massachusetts after 3 years. And it sounded like Pink Floyd inside this building. Everyone came in went, holy shit, who are these guys? Everybody from, Clive Davis to the guys in Kiss and everybody else. So I said, wow. Because we had our energy. And a lot of bands, they go rehearsal at 7 o'clock. They're drinking coffee at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then nothing gets done.
The shot, yeah.
And I got to go to work tomorrow. We can't rehearse past 9:30 or 9. And the song is going great. Come on, man. Run it one more time. Come on, 2 more times, and we got this. No, I got to go home, man. My wife's calling. It's like hard.
Yeah, so you made your commitment the other way around. Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah, I think. Like I said, I had my first child till I was 35. So I got an extra few years in there.
Yeah, sure.
And not worry about getting married. And I'd go back to home at the holidays, and all my cousins got kids in the first, second, third grade, got a house, got 2 cars. I'm taking the subway.
No, that's a common thing amongst every musician I've spoken to be honest with you. Everybody, yeah. They had a point in time where they said, shit, this is really hard to do because I'm seeing everybody, quote unquote, being an adult, having kids, buying houses, all that stuff. Yeah. That's, Gary started talking about Woodstock. Tell the Woodstock story. This is phenomenal.
Well, I saw the ad for Woodstock. I was working part-time in a printing plant, printing a magazine from New York. This is in Connecticut. Printing a magazine from New York called Q Magazine. There's a small ad in the back about Woodstock. 3 days of music, blah, 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 $18 for the ticket. And my friend and I had already bought tickets for the Atlantic City Pop Festival in New Jersey and Newport Jazz in Newport. So in the 1 month that, I guess, August of 1979, we saw 90 bands. And we had a week at Provincetown stuck in between, and we went to Woodstock. I saw all the bands at Woodstock. We had a shelter. We got in with the hog farmers. We got there on a Tuesday.
Wait, 69 you mean, right?
Not 69,
yeah, okay.
69. So we made friends with the hog farmers, helping them put up some fence. And we got to stay on their site and eat at the field kitchen every day.
Oh, wow.
Meal and fruit in the morning and rice and vegetables at night and go see the bands. And we had a blast. We saw 90 bands. I saw The Who, Sly and the Family Stone, everybody.
Best performance,
probably the most unbelievable was Sly and the Family Stone at Woodstock. The earth was shaking. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. People get out of their soggy sleeping bags on acid and start dancing. You couldn't not, and I don't dance, and I was dancing. The earth was shaking. Larry Graham's bass, they were phenomenal. Them, Santana, The Who were amazing. Joe Cocker and Santana played in the afternoon in the rain. No lights, nothing. They were just amazing. They didn't have any fancy lighting or the extra cake, It
was really gross there with all that rain, wasn't it?
Yeah, it made it muddy. But we had a lean-to. I was dry.
Oh, you're kidding me?
Yeah, we had a lean-to against the fence. This plastic tarp we had. And there was like 18 of us, I think, sleeping under that thing with sleeping bags. Never got wet. And like I said, we had the field kitchen right there. And there was another stage at Woodstock that people don't even know about, where there was great local bands were playing from like the region, from like the tri-state region in New York and New England. Bands that had played original music had maybe a record out, and they were playing in this other little stage down there for the hog farm people who were from New Mexico. They had all the school buses with the turrets on them, all the hippie kids with long hair. Everybody's naked. Back in New England, when we first started going, we got sued for $1 million. And our lawyer, who was Billy Joel's guy, said, any of you clowns write this stuff down as to who says what when? Of course not. Yeah. For musicians, why would we do that? So I went and bought a journal. And I started writing down every day what we did, where I went, what restaurants I ate at. And so...
What did they sue you for?
There was a guy in Boston who worked for Electric Records. A photographer friend of mine, played him our demo tape. He played the tape at a Kiss concert for Rick Aliberti, who was Bill Cohen's right-hand guy. And he wanted to manage us. He wanted to quit his job at Elektra. He was the hot guy for Electric Records on the East Coast. He got Cars their deal, New Queen. We actually arranged for Brian Mayer to produce the first New England album.
Holy smokes.
Through that, with no record deal yet. And but what we said was, it's great you want to be our manager, but have you ever booked a Grange Hall or a Knights Columbus Hall or a nightclub?
Yeah.
No. Well, how are you going to get us in Madison Square Garden? So I had called it the David and Goliath theory of managers. And you can get the guy who's your cousin who will kill for you, he'll never sleep again, promote you best he can, or you get Mr. Big, who manages Frank Sinatra. But when Frank's in Vegas, he manages in Vegas, and there's problems with that thing too. So we shot for the big guy. We went either Bill Aucoin or like I said, Hervé Zoff, Lieber Krebs. We got Bill Aucoin. So the guy played a tape. The Aucoin people came to see us, loved it. They said, come down to New York City, come to Bill's apartment, which happened to be in the cover of Architectural Digest that month.
Where was this?
What city you want to stay? Driving cabs in Boston.
Yeah.
Let me think about that for a couple of minutes.
Where did he live? Central Park West?
Right next to the same building as Jackie Onassis.
Oh my God.
The Olympic Towers, right next to St. Peter's Cathedral. Right above Radio City Music Hall. 37 stories above the roof of Radio City Music Hall.
That's crazy.
I can look right down on it. I could just jump from here. It'd be great.
That's crazy.
Blast out of our brains, you know. You want to hang with us? No, we want to go back home. I miss.
Yeah, drive a cab.
I missed a small town life. So in the meantime, the electric guy was set up to go down there, and we said you could be our road manager, liaison, Boston guy for these guys. So, so he went down there, and the night he went about to go down there to try and get himself involved with us somehow because he saw where it was going. He came by with a little piece of paper that said that he was our manager and that he would rip that up when he came back the next day. It was a letter of intent. And we're all saying, we're 27 years old. This is called a letter of intent. We know music law at this point and all that stuff. We've been doing, this is stupid. We signed this. You could screw us big time.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to rip it up and stuff just to show them I got ties to you guys, so they got to offer me a deal. He goes down there and they offer him like 5% of the band. Bill took 25% of the band in the beginning.
Holy crap.
And they offered him 5. He said he'd go down to 20 if we got our own business manager, which we did eventually. So this guy turns down 5% of this band. It could be the next big thing. Dumb. Real dumb. And we said, if you don't rip this up, we know where you live. We're going to burn your BMW and, have our way with your dog and stuff. Don't fuck us,
Yeah.
This is bad. This is our career. Not just one of us, it's all 4 of us. You're going to screw us big time with this garbage. Sure enough, he says he's going to stick that he wanted more. He wanted to be the manager. And we're rehearsing one day in a little cottage in the woods and knock on the door. It's a marshal. And he gives us these subpoenas, $1 million a piece, federal court in New York City. Us, Bill Aucoin, and MCA Records in Los Angeles.
Oh, my God.
And we're thinking, here's where we get dropped like a hot potato. And the powers that be in New York and LA said, no, we're going to fight for these guys. These guys are that good that we're going to go to bat for these guys. So we go to court, and we settled for like 26 grand, something like that. And we gave him $3,000 cash that day and never saw him again. Never paid him with a dime. Never saw him again. And he quit the music business and became something else. And
so he was just a petty thief, basically.
Yeah, he was an idiot. He's like, he was a cool guy. It's like, why couldn't you stay cool and been part of our team? We would kick some butt around the world.
Yeah.
No, you had to go whole hog and try and get the whole thing for all the glory for yourself. And so because he had contacted Brian May, Brian couldn't do it and drove the tape across London to Mike Stone's house, the engineer. And when we got him with a coin to do the first album, they said, would you consider using Paul Stanley, who's never done a record, and Michael from Queen? And we said, that sounds good, because we produced ourselves. All we were going to do was redo that record over again.
Yeah.
4-track. We changed maybe 2 little licks to Paul's suggestion. Paul was a great coach. Michael was the mad wizard with the knobs and get all these ridiculous guitar sounds. That first record rocks. For 1978, it rocks pretty heavy. A lot going on in our music, Everybody said, you can't play it live. Yeah, we can. We've got foot pedals, and I'm playing bass pedals, and everybody's singing, and 12-string guitars, and all this cool stuff, And so anyway, that guy got drummed out of the business. No one would talk to him. And we took off with all those people.
Wow.
after seeing Woodstock and saying that's what I want to do. I want to be in the Who really bad. You know?
That's crazy, man. I can't believe you saw 90 bands in a month. That's pretty intense.
We were watching Janis Joplin, and she had fired her band, and she had a bunch of pickup guys, and she had the bass player for Frank Zappa, and the mothers were behind her. They had a revolving stage on a racetrack, so it was cool. As soon as the band was done, like 30 guys on rope would turn this thing, and the next band would play immediately. It was so cool. No waiting time. Bang, 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 right through all these acts. You know, Three Dog Night, Creedence Clearwater, everybody. And so here's Janis Joplin playing. She's got Billy Mundy or Roy Estrada playing bass from the Mothers in her band, and the Zappa guys are about to come on, and they're standing behind him, and all the Jimmy Carl Black and those guys are flicking his ears while he's trying to play. You know, Janis Joplin's doing her thing, and these other guys are like, it was really fun. So I got to see all that stuff. We commandeered this grandstand seat in the grandstands with all these different stables. It was a horse track, and we were supposed to have tickets on the ground on the cement. We just saw this grandstand, no band. We took it over for 3 days. Finally, some rich kids from New York showed up. We said, "Join the party. We're not leaving." And we had a great time. And that was New Jersey. Went to Newport from there. Saw Johnny Winter Jam with B.B. King. My friends crying. I said, "Stop it! Stop it!"
That's pretty intense, though, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So and Led Zeppelin. I mean, Led Zeppelin played that night, Sunday night, last band on the roster, and people were walking away
because they didn't know them.
Yeah, I knew who they were because I was a Yardbirds freak, Yeah. Jeff Beck and all. I knew exactly who they were, and I saw Jeff Beck group play with Rod Stewart, Ronnie Wood playing bass. That was cool.
Wow.
And so that night, like it's Sunday night, people started leaving because they got to go to work in the morning and all that stuff. And they came out with communication breakdown. I was like, whoa. People turned around and started walking back. And I got down front. It's like, this is cool. So I saw Led Zeppelin and the Zappa and Dizzy Gillespie and all kinds of great actors.
That's wild, man. Imagine they don't have things like that anymore where you can see all that kind of good music in one night.
Yeah, that thing they call Woodstock's kind of a joke. It's like, it's not Woodstock. Woodstock was a one-off kind of deal. It was all these mostly kids from New York City. They're up there. And everybody was cool and shared things. And that lifestyle never evolved. Now everyone wants to kill each other now. 50 years.
Yeah, because they vote for different parties.
Yeah,
go figure that one, man.
Being together on this stuff and fighting the corporation world. So anyway, that's another ball game. We'll get into that. But
I'm going to ask you one more question, Gary, and I can't thank you enough for your time and all your stories, man. Over the last 10 years, what would you say is your biggest change in your personality, and has it been intentional and deliberate, or just a mellowing with age, perhaps?
Well, when I got remarried 10 years ago, and I've got a great one.
Different wife.
Yeah, second one.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. She's got kids. We got kids. There's 11 of us combined, and they're all the same age.
Good Lord. Not living with you, 11 people.
No, thank God.
Oh, God.
And she has a son who's got physical problems as well. And she's been very supportive and pointing out little things that I should change, or bettering myself kind of things, speaking more clearly, thinking about things better. So that's been a great thing. It's been I'm really lucky that happened. I thought I got divorced. Like, oh, here we go. Here's where the deep slide starts.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those wino guys yet.
Is that why you're in Florida? Was she from there?
No, she's from Michigan. I married two girls from Michigan.
And just like, what made you pick Florida to move to?
She wanted to live in a warm place after living in Michigan all her life.
I can hear that. Wow. But she got warm, all right.
Yeah. And I said, well, I don't know about Florida. I was never, wasn't quite sure about that. LA has got great weather, but now it's hot so much. The weather's changing there. It's not so wonderful. The sky's polluted. The sky is brown above Los Angeles. It was back in the 80s. So I'm glad I got out of Los Angeles. I don't miss anything there other than a bunch of friends in the music community.
Sure.
That's where everything's still based, whether they like it or not.
Yes.
Unless you go to Nashville, and that's kind of different. But So we've been here for 3 years now, and found this little town and fell in love with it. So this is great. So she convinced me, and I said, we're out of here. So no more winter, got my shorts on too.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. That's all you wear here, man. You can't wear. I don't mind the heat. It was 87 today. It's November 7th as I'm recording this for listeners. But it's still humid though. That's what's nuts, man. We never had humidity November 7th.
Right.
That's really bad.
Yeah, a little muggier than it was the year before.
Yeah, definitely.
It rained the whole month of August. It rained, I think, every day. But I like the way it rains here. It rains for like an hour and it goes away, and 3 hours later it's perfectly dry.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is really cool.
In the north, it rains for a day, and the next 4 days are gray and ugly.
Yeah, and it's wet all over the place. Yeah, that is true.
That's good.
Once you get the sunshine, man, you can't do without it, because it really does make you feel better having all the sunshine all the time. It's definitely a big.
I've been able to commute. Went to Helsinki last Thanksgiving. I was in Helsinki. I was at a KISS convention. Sign autographs. I played with Bruce Kulick and Bobby Rock.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I had Bruce on the show a while back.
Playing a Vinnie Vincent song.
That's funny.
And it was kind of cold and gray there, and I get back here and it's sunny, and rip off the long pants.
Yeah.
We were just in Rome last week, a couple weeks ago, and that was nice. The weather was just nice fall weather kind of thing.
You on vacation or like playing?
Yeah, it was vacation.
Oh, cool, man.
Went to Rome and Florence and up to Tuscany, tripped around, ate a lot of pasta, gained weight, had a good time.
Good for you, man. You're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, do it now, we can still walk. But people my age, I'm 68. I'll be 68 at Christmas time.
Dude, you look great, honestly, man. You must look at Facebook, because I do, and I'm 55, and I look at them like, God, what the hell? When did you stop giving a shit about yourself? So you, 13 years older than me, you must see that even more so.
Yeah, I don't know. And my high school 50th reunion was last summer.
Did you go?
No. They we had a choice of going to Michigan, hanging with our kids for an extra week. So I chose hang out with the kids.
Yeah. I've never been to one reunion.
I've been to a couple of those, had a great time. And the people that go to those things are successful. The people who aren't doing so well don't go. So everyone there is kind of happy when you go to those things. It's not so bad.
That's cool.
You get to see other people. Hey, how you doing? So they're good things. I would suggest anybody gets a chance to go to it. It's a positive thing. Like I said, the people that aren't doing great aren't going to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How bad things are going.
Yeah.
So you get to see what people have done for the other selves and besides yourself,
Yeah.
So it's interesting for that. And I got to go back that way because New England's still based in Boston, so I get to go through Connecticut now and again, keep in touch with that, and be based here near Jacksonville.
That's right, man.
I just fly to LA and we rehearse in LA and we go play in Reno or something. I've been playing with the Grand Bonnet Band. And we played 3 shows in Texas. We did Reno.
Dude, you coming down here anytime?
I don't think so. They played here. They played in Tampa last spring, I think, around Easter. They might come back in the near future. And so I sat in for a few shows. It was kind of more of an they do Alcatrazz music, and I sat in and played some stuff, which is what this new Alcatrazz album is all about.
Yeah, man, let's talk about this. So you got the new Alcatrazz live LP, Blu-ray, DVD, Alcatrazz in Japan with Grand Bonnet. Yeah. Talk about the and it's called Parole Denied.
It was great. I mean, I've been playing the New England songs for the last 10 years, and we worked our way up into a 20-song set, whatever. And I had to go back with the Alcatrazz stuff and go, okay, what did I play on the second record? What was I playing in that song? And no one knows these bass parts but me. And I see people playing New England songs on YouTube and things, and Don't Ever Want to Lose You, and the bass part's totally wrong. My hand's not even in the same position. It should be over there, And so that's kind of, it's frustrating, but it's kind of rewarding, and it's whatever.
Imitation's the best form of flattery, right?
Yeah, it's all good. So I got to play those songs. It was great to crank that stuff up again. And we were in Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya, and the people there are just amazing. They know every lick. They know your mother's maiden name. They know everything.
Wild.
They study that stuff. They're great fans. And so I've had a good time, like I said, being based here. I've been in LA 5 times last year, and Boston 5 times, and Finland, Japan, and in Texas and everything. So hopefully next year we'll do a few more things like that. I'll just get to sit in with those guys.
That's great, man.
And see what happens.
When is the album coming out?
December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day.
That's right. And so I know
it's going to be Frontiers Records. It should be for sale online, especially on the Frontiers site, Frontiers Records. There's a Alcatrazz Facebook page.
Yeah, let me tell people how to find that, because it's not just at facebook.com Alcatrazz. It's facebook.com/Alcatrazz Original Band 1. Yeah, they were trying to pick the longest domain possible. Alcatrazz Original Band 1, and you'll see it on there. Are you on do you want to promote any social media? Are you on Instagram or anything?
I've got a website, GaryShea.net.
Yep.
That people can read. I have a blog that is kind of current history as opposed to the other things. I haven't really updated much on there. I have a Facebook page also. Come see me on there. Also, there's a bunch of New England fan pages. There's NewEnglandRocks.com, the New England site. And also Cooper Shea. I have to mention that 3 years ago we did a record. The guys I play with in England, we made a record together. David Cooper, the guitar player, Peter French, Herman Railroad, myself. And there's a Cooper Shea site on Facebook.
That's cool, man.
That's all for sale in digital. And it's kind of a retro kind of thing. Musically, I don't know how to describe that, but I never had a chance to tell people what that band sounded like. I never got a copy of our demo tapes. And I've been for years been telling people, I played with Peter French from Cactus, and Herman from Scorpions on drums and stuff, and we did all this stuff. We were all young kids, and so we played those songs and we recorded some stuff, and it came out really great. So we're trying to do a second one of those sometime next year. Dave and I are trying to put some songs together for that. He lives in London. Herman, of course, is in Germany, and Peter is in England. And he has a band called Leafhound. It's an English band that's done pretty well. And he's also back with Atomic Rooster, and they're playing around Europe right now.
I have some old Atomic Rooster stuff, man. That's cool.
Right. And it's like Cozy Powell was Peter's roommate. They both went to London at the same time. And Peter joined Atomic Rooster, and Cozy joined Jeff Beck.
He died really young, Cozy Powell, didn't he?
Yeah, like back at the beginning of Alcatrazz, so mid-'80s.
Oh.
Yep. Oh. He and Graham were good friends.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, dude, when your record comes out, come back on the show. Let's talk about it.
Sounds like a great deal.
Seriously, man, we'll promote it. All right?
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.
Listen, thank you very much for everything. And I appreciate you being so candid and all your cool stories. And if you're ever down in this area, man, let me know.
Definitely.
We'll go have a cigar and a drink, a cocktail, a Florida cocktail.
If it gets too hot for you down here, come north 100 miles to be okay.
I just might. Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate it, Gary.
Thanks,
Everybody, thank you for listening. If you enjoy this, please share it with a friend on social media. We appreciate your support. Thanks again to Gary Shea for spending time with us. Please look for the new Alcatrazz Parole Denied album coming out soon. Check them out on their Facebook page. Again, it's facebook.com/Alcatrazz Original Band 1 or GaryShea.net. Gary spells his last name SHEA, like Shea Stadium. Make sure you go to our homepage, everyonelovesguitar.com. Sign up to get on our newsletter list so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar or your bass, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.